A new report says that since 2016, pro-life pregnancy centers have saved more than 800,000 lives. The study comes from the pro-life Charlotte Lozier Institute. It says the centers provide support, education, medical care, and critical resources for women faced with an unexpected pregnancy. Pro-life leaders are reacting to the Supreme Court decision. Bishop Michael Burbidge from the Diocese of Arlington in Virginia says in part, quote, "We thank God for this welcome decision. At the same time, we also know that the work of protecting unborn children and their parents from the tragedy of abortion is far from finished." Heritage Foundation President Kevin Roberts calls today's decision a new beginning, saying, quote, "Now is the time for state lawmakers to protect life, which begins at conception." Congress also has an obligation at the federal level to protect the unborn. And joining us now is another pro-life leader, Jeanne Mancini, president of the March for Life. Jeanne, welcome back. So good to see you today. I'm curious, what was your first reaction when you heard about the decision today, coincidentally, on Nellie Gray's birthday, the founder of the March for Life?
You know what? It was just pure joy. I mean, and gratitude to God, who we know really was behind this decision, and gratitude to all of the people who've marched over the years. I mean, so many of your viewers. I thought, and I have been thinking a lot in the last few weeks about just the marchers. You know, like every single year, marching past that Supreme Court, hours and hours, shoulder to shoulder, and how their example and their witness to the dignity of the unborn person has made today possible by God's grace.
Yeah, it is incredible. I know you were outside the Supreme Court today. What was the scene like there, and what was the reaction to the news from pro-lifers?
So I was outside the Supreme Court very early this morning, but when the decision came down, I was in my office here. But I can tell you that early in the morning, it was very contentious already. There was just a lot of yelling between, a lot of threats of violence and just a lot of anger from the other side, and pro-lifers engaging them as lovingly and prayerfully as possible. So I think that we're going to see a lot of that for the next few days, a lot of fear mongering and extremism, as a response to this. And I think it's just critical that we remember that life is about love, and that love saves lives, and that God has this, and that we continue to be just examples of peace and love to all that we encounter.
Yeah, and although Roe versus Wade has been overturned, as we know, that really doesn't mean abortion has been abolished. Jeanne, what happens next for the pro-life movement?
Yeah, so if you'll humor me, I've been thinking so much about this beautiful Winston Churchill quote, which came from World War II after the Battle of El Alamein, which was someone asked him, "Do you think that this is the end?" And he said, "No, it's not the end. And I don't think it's the beginning of the end, but perhaps it's the end of the beginning." And that's kind of been my mantra lately. I think it's the end of the beginning. We're going to have to move into phase 2 here, which will involve a lot more work at the states, which the March for Life is very engaged. We were just in California 2 days ago for our second annual March for Life there. And we're going to need to increase our safety net for women and babies, and so I'm hearing all sorts of beautiful stories, especially from the church. One example in Gaithersburg, Maryland, where that church, St. John Newman, wants to make sure that no woman facing an unexpected pregnancy in Gaithersburg is lacking support to choose life. So we're going to really need to bolster what we're already doing, where there is a lot that we're already doing, but bolster what's already happening.
Yeah, something else I want to talk about, Jeanne. President Biden spoke earlier today addressing the Supreme Court ruling. And one of the things he said was, quote, "The health and life of women in this nation are now at risk." I want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think it's fear mongering, and it's unfortunate that he's doing that. He's politicizing this. So very rarely is a pregnancy impacting the mom's health in a negative kind of way. And I think that they're trying to use that as sort of a small example. But even the Guttmacher Institute says that something like 6% of the abortions have to do with the health of the mom or the baby. But the more important thing is that abortion is not health care. when a woman is pregnant, there are two patients there. And that's what being pro-life is about, is loving both patients and receiving them with welcome and wanting the health of both patients, mom and baby. And so, you know, President Biden, who's flip-flopped on this issue, you know, we have a picture of him from many years ago in the Delaware State House when he was pro-life, and it's sad that he would lean into this on such a day.
Yeah, and before I let you go, we're running out of time, but I do want to ask you this. Now that Roe versus Wade has been overturned, what's the future of the March for Life? Yeah,
well, there's no lack of work to be done. So we are very active in our states. We were just in California, as I mentioned 2 days ago. We're in 5 states this year, so we've done 3 now, and we'll be in Pennsylvania for the 2nd annual march in September, and then Ohio in October. Next year, we plan to double that, and in the next 5 to 6 years to be in all states. But that national march is still going to be really important. So I've been asked a lot, will we change the date, this, that, the other? I can tell you this January, for the 50th anniversary of Roe, which thanks God will be no more, we will be marching. We will march in commemoration of the loss of life of 63 million Americans to abortion, but also commemoration of all who've gone before us to make today possible, this new season.
Yeah, and Jeanne, thank you so much for your time today and being with us on this historic day. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.